It's Tuesday, the 2nd of July, 2024. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories, 5 minutes. Let's get going. Story number 1, it's the end, of course, of the financial year, and the share market in 2024 had some extreme winners and some extreme losers, including some household names.
Yeah, so the best performing mid to large cap for the last fiscal year was imaging software group Pro Medicus. Essentially, the group has software that brings radiology, medical imaging, into the 21st century. Its share price doubled last financial year. The group's now worth $14 billion. Notable mentions in that mid to large category include fund manager GQG Partners and circuit board software group Altium. Of the mega caps, top 20 companies, Goodman Group was the best of them, up 74%. At the other end, a bunch of miners didn't do so well. Lithium stocks particularly, Liontown Resources, IGO, Arcadian Lithium. Tabcorp also did very poor, a very small company now because its share price fell 37% last year. Of the mega caps, the worst was Woodside. If you look at the widely held stocks, those with plenty of retail shareholders, Telstra and Woolies both performed poorly, down 16%. Coles was off 8%, Qantas down 5%, while the banks did well, led by National Australia Bank.
Yeah, Sean, last financial year, we seem to be talking about the banks doing well, even though a lot of analysts were saying that they were overpriced. What's that meant for the market?
Well, it really means that investors have a new challenge in that the ASX 200 is now over-reliant on the banks. The finance index, which is dominated by the big four, accounts for 31.5% of the ASX 200. So if the banks have a bad year coming up, many think they will because of their currently high valuations, then the market will struggle to perform very well. Materials, which includes the big three miners, is the next largest index at 21%. It's much more diverse. That index can still do okay, even if iron ore prices fall. And while the tech sector was the best performing sector last financial year, it actually only accounts for about 3% of the ASX 200. Point is, your fortunes are going to be very much tied to big four banks if you're a passive investor.
Sean, story number 2, looking at a different angle now of the new financial year. A lot of taxpayers and minimum wage earners happy for the jump in what appears in their bank accounts, but international students aren't so happy with a big change.
One big budget initiative is to increase student visa application fees, which are non-refundable. The fee jumped from $710 to $1,600. The number of international students surged post-lockdowns and was a big part of the migration boom in Australia. Since then, the numbers have come off, though so far in the year to the end of May, there were 330,000 student visas approved, something of a honeypot for governments looking for money. The federal government has said it will cap foreign student intakes, but in the meantime, they're upping those visa prices.
Story number 3, the new Governor-General, Sam Mostyn, was sworn in yesterday. She is the 28th Governor-General and the second woman to take the role.
After the ceremony in the federal Senate, Ms Mostyn said she often reflected on a speech by Indigenous leader Noel Pearson in which he talks of a 3-part portrait of Australia, 65,000 years of Indigenous culture, British institutions, and its multicultural present and future. She said Australia is the country with extraordinary advantages of geography and resources and the oldest continuing culture in the world. She added that since World War II, Australia's welcomed 7.5 million migrants, almost 1 million of those were refugees. Contemporary challenges, according to Ms Mostyn, include violence against women, growing economic inequality, the lingering impacts of the COVID pandemic, and as she put it, the pernicious impact of social media.
Story number 4, how about this? A fire at Anglo American's biggest metallurgical coal project in Australia has halted production, with the miner saying that it may actually take several months for the blaze just to be extinguished.
A methane explosion on Saturday caused a fire at the Grosvenor underground mine, which accounts for about 30% of the company's annual production of coking coal in Queensland. No one was injured in the explosion. The company said specialist teams were working to extinguish the underground fire, but it will take months. Anglo Americans had plenty on its plate, having knocked back a $75 billion takeover from BHP in May. Now, a bunch of companies benefited from this yesterday. Anglo American's competitors in Queensland, groups like Coronado Global Resources, Whitehaven, Stanmore, their share prices surged on the back of this underground fire.
Okay, last one. Story number 5. Joe Biden is staying in the race for president, even though the first major poll since last week's debate shows a drop in support for him, even among Democrat voters.
There are plenty of Democrat supporters who are openly talking of him leaving the race, but it doesn't look like happening. The Biden family spent the weekend at Camp David, where the extended group is due to have a photo shoot with celebrity photographer Annie Leibovitz. The share of Americans who say Joe Biden should seek re-election dropped significantly, according to a new CBS poll, dropping 10 percentage points among registered Democrat voters to 54%, 9 percentage points among all voters to just 28%. And 72% said Mr. Biden doesn't have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 2nd of July, 2024. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts, or at fearandgreed.com.au, which is also where you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter, which comes out tomorrow. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.